A common customer question we receive all the time is, how do you compare against this competitor or that competitor? Now in this case, what I'm going to do is give you an example of how we compare to Aweber by showing you exactly how you do things in Aweber and then comparing and contrasting how we do things in CloudNet360. Now because we are always benchmarking all our competitors for open rates to make sure we're as good or better, and for functionality, again, to make sure we're as good or better in all aspects of emailing, we of course have accounts in all these competitors, so we know where they're strong, we know where they're weak, we know what they do, and we know what they don't do. So in this video series, I'm just going to give you the comparison of what they do well, what we do well, and then what we do differently. So to start with, I'm just going to show you how a broadcast message is created in Aweber, and then compare it to how it's created in CloudNet360. Now when you come into your opening screen, all you have to do is hit this button, create a message. It's very simple. And of course, put your subject line in here. Now what I want you to notice though, there's no way to split test this subject line. You get one bite at the apple and that's it. And this is a big problem because unless you're split testing all the time and for your product line, you're never going to really discover what people are interested in. And if you don't know what they're interested in, if you don't know why and what emails they're opening based on the subject line, you're never going to optimize your subject lines. You're never going to optimize the message that you're sending out to these folks to maximize the number of opens you get on each broadcast or for each autoresponder. Now coming down here, of course, you can personalize it. In this case, we'll just put in our message. And I'm just going to save and exit. And now I have my sending options. I can send this to my entire list, schedule a broadcast, and I'm going to choose what lists I send it to. I'm going to include all my lists. You'll notice that you can only segment based on lists. You can't segment based on attributes or tags or let's say zip code, for example. None of those things are available to you. You have a very generic segmentation process in a system like Aweber. So I'll apply those and I'll send my message now. All right, so I can send this, but I'm not going to because this is a fake dummy message. I don't want people to receive this. So I'm just going to cancel that. But that's it. Now what I want you to notice is after you send that message, the content in that message is pretty much captive to that one message. And if you were to want that message to go out as part of your autoresponder series, you would have to take that, copy it, paste it, and essentially recreate that message. Now, let me show you how we do it in CloudNet360, and I think you're going to see a whole different philosophy on why we do it the way we do it and how it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. So I'm just going to open up my CRM. And I'm going to come down into my content library. I could come right into newsletter broadcasts, and if I did this, I would be able to see my last couple of broadcasts. I would be able to check out my split test. Okay, now this one doesn't have a split test on it, but if it did, I would be able to have all my charted stats right here. And I would also be able to do different functions based on people opening, not opening, and I would be able to do a multitude of different things right from this screen. But I always like to start in the content library. And I will start here by putting my content into Toronto. I'll just add a new message and I'll name it. And here is where our system really starts to separate itself from Aweber. Because now I'm going to put in my subject line. And to split test it, all I have to do is press this button. And if I want to have another one, I just click it again. And what I'll do is typically try different arrangements and different keywords just so I learn what my audience is really keying in on and what are the things that they really care about. Now, From a single email, you'll learn some things. This really becomes valuable when you send broadcast after broadcast after broadcast after broadcast, and you will definitely see the trends. You will definitely see the trends of what your audience is most interested in, what keywords are really triggering the greatest number of opens, and then you can concentrate on using that theme, those keywords, in your subject lines to maximize your open rate. And I'll add one more just because it's so easy. Of course, I can personalize my subject lines if I choose to, but for now, I'm just going to go to the next step, and I'm going to put in my message. This signature merge code is something I can show you later, but basically the signature merge code allows us to use a multitude of profiles so that this email content can be used by any number of people within your organization. Instead of having everyone create their own library of content, you can create one library of content, customize it with the different signature merge codes so that Tom, Mary, Sally, Bill, Bob, whoever can put their own profile in here and customize this message as though it's coming from them. All I'm going to do is save and send the broadcast. The last thing I have to do is select a profile. And in this case, it'll send from Sally. And you see how it auto-populates. And we just go to the next step where we can customize whether we're going to send it to our entire list or send to a targeted audience. And here we have a vast array of things that you can do to segment by your audience. You can do it by area code, zip code. You can do it by company. You can do it by name. You can do it by the dates they were created. You can do it by groups, by order ID, by dollar range. There's so many different things you can do. Funnels, tags. There's really an unlimited number of things you can do. When you start looking at all the ways that you can tag people, that you can put them into different funnels, different sales paths, you can combine the criteria. But for the sake of this example, I'm just going to send it to my entire list. So I'm going to go back and we'll hit the schedule broadcast button. On this step, I'm simply calculating my spam score to make sure that what I send isn't going to trigger any of the spam filters. And hit the next step. I can add it immediately to the queue, or I can schedule it for a specific time. In this case, I'm just going to send it immediately. I'll add it to the queue. And the last step is to hit the send button. We want to make sure that nobody messes up and sends an email to a group they don't want to send to, which is why we have this final confirmation send button here. But that's all you have to do to send a broadcast. You can see there are far more options, but before I go, I want to show you a couple things that you can also do with this email. Now I'm going to come down into a funnel, and we'll go into our Cash Club, our Easy Wealth funnel, and now I'm going to take that email and I'm going to add it using the Mitch profile. I'm going to select my demo content and I'll put a delay of 6 days on it. I could split test it if I want, but in this case, I'm just going to add it. Okay, so now I've sent a broadcast and I've also taken that same content and put it right into my autoresponder sequence, or what we call a sales path. In this case, you can see there's merchant alerts, there's emails, there's sales calls, a custom task, another sales call, follow-up call, combined with all the emails in this sales path. But that's not all. There's still more that we can do with this content that we just created. Because if I want to send this email to just one person, I can do that as well. All I have to do is take my profile, and in this case, Jim Bob is going to send it. And I'll select my demo message. There we go. So I'm putting my demo message in, and then I submit it. So now I can take that same content, I can use it for broadcast emails, I can use it for autoresponder sequences, and I can use it as one-off emails going out to a person that I just want to contact specifically. I can also use it for all the different profiles in my account so that all the people in my business can share that content, so we can use one library and leverage that across everyone in the organization. So I think you can see that just the simple sending a broadcast functionality has been taken many steps beyond in the CloudNet360 system, what you can do in the Aweber system. All right, this is Gary with CloudNet360, helping you sell more faster. And stay tuned for the next video where I show you even more power tips in comparison to using a tool like Aweber.